Here at Rod Patrick, we take the fit process very, very seriously because we know the importance in your performance on how you're fit. So come in, let's give you the opportunity. Tell me what you're experiencing. Tell me what your challenges are. And I know together we're going to find the right answer and you're going to be happier than you've ever been with your boots. Come see me. And thank you.
Hey everybody, Brad Jewett here tonight. I'll just let you know we've got Doug Hulls with the Sun Circuit 2021 updates and information on the national championships, and that's specifically. And then, of course, other questions that we have that we will bring up in conversation with Doug about the 2021 Sun Circuit. And then we also have Shelly DeLuigi with Nutrena, here to talk about your horse's health from the inside of the bag to the inside of your horse. Specifically with foaling season upon us, she's going to talk about the mare and foal nutrition. So we will stick with us. We're going to go through our intro. We'll be right back. Welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Keeping It Real show with Brad Jewett, your host. Mr. Kimura is in Oklahoma City and he told me he had 90 senior trail horses today at the Prairie Classic. Wow. Congratulations on the Prairie Classic. Big show, it sounds like. So he's got his hands full with trail. So we're going to let him do his day job while we hold down the fort here at the Keeping It Real show. As aforementioned, we have Doug Hulls going to be joining us first to talk a little bit all things Sun Circuit. And then after a quick break, we will have Shelly DeLuigi joining us from Nutrena. So, Kona, let's go ahead and bring in Doug. Welcome back, Doug.
How we doing, man?
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm wonderful.
Awesome. Is the snow melted there yet?
Yeah, snow's gone at my house anyway. I think up north of here, they got 28 inches or something within 10 miles.
I haven't been on Facebook much, but I popped it up, and I'm seeing all these pictures of snow in Arizona. I'm like, holy smokes, y'all got it.
Yeah, just know though, Scottsdale only got a little light dusting, and it was back up. I was at Westworld today, and it was probably 72 degrees. So I think
beautiful.
I think we got rid of all that bad stuff. We're moving into the good stuff for Sun Circuit. So.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's the best time of year, I believe, to be there for sure during the Sun Circuit. Hey, so before we get kicked off, because I know you have a lot of information on the national championship rounds that you do, but there's been a lot of questions come to Tim, and they've asked me to ask you about the maiden trail class. They cannot show in the first round of the green trail at the Sun Circuit. Is that correct?
They cannot show. Yes, that is correct. And the NSBA rule reads that horse cannot have shown ever before in that class. So, I kind of wish it wasn't that way, and maybe we can schedule it different.
Okay. Sorry about that. having some technical glitches. But Tim, if you're watching and you're sitting at your trail table, hopefully you can spread that word that they cannot show in that first round of the Green Trail prior to that maiden trail class. So hopefully that clears up all the questions, so that Doug doesn't get a bunch of texts or anything like that asking the same question. But let's move in. Let's talk about the championship rounds, and we'll go from there. I know you've sent us over the top. How many lists? How big was that list?
I sent you 25. We take 64 back. Maybe just sometimes there's some confusion on this, Brad. It's all on the website how we do it. We do our very best. We don't want to miss out on anybody. We do our very best of gathering all we can. But here's what we've got. How we get the names. The top 5 in the circuit standings at anybody that sharing their results with us get on that list that we send to the ranking committee, those judges out there that we use, and we try to use people all over the country.
Yeah.
But we take the top 5 from every circuit and then the top 10 at the world shows. And that's how we compile the list that we send out to those guys.
Got it.
If somebody got missed or somewhere along the way, that is not our intention. We do not want that to happen. But like Kathy Avolt in Equine Production, she is great, shares her results with me all the time. She gets those sent to me right away.
Awesome.
Of course, our Arizona shows are in there. Jackie Kershka, anything that happens in Oklahoma that she's involved with, she's always great about it. Silver Dollar, Sun and Surf, everybody there is really, they're great about sharing the results. So, if you've got a show manager somewhere that's maybe outside of that group, that, encourage them to share. I've contacted most of them, and some of them, do, and some of them don't. So, but that's how we get that initial list. You got to be in the top 5 at the circuit. So if you're not out there showing,
right,
you're not going to be that hot person. And this is about who's hot in this case, 2020, you know, and world show results. If you don't make that top 10, we're not going to get your name on the list. Now the judges can add somebody to the list and go, hey, so-and-so I think really deserves to be there. And that'll get them on the list, but they can add that. So again, our intent is never to miss anybody. So.
Okay. So with the youth world broken into 14 to 18 and 13 and under, do you just take the 14 to 18 group, or or how does that work out?
We're taking the 14 to 18 group.
Okay.
Now, in shows level 2 and 3, we do take the level 2 and level 3 group, because this is the top of the top. These are the best in the country, and that's the only reason, and maybe those 13 and unders are there, and I could be talked into it real easily. Let me tell you that. But this is the best of the best right here. This game is about that.
Well, I mean, it's called national championship for a reason, right? And I've been fortunate enough to have clients that have won it and have participated in it every year. And it's something special. It's really cool how you do it. The whole format, which I'm sure you'll probably talk about a little bit more, is really cool. So go ahead and continue. If you want Kona to pop up some of the lists, we can talk about that, or it's all your
second first, and then let's kind of talk about some of the changes, because I've got last year up. But it's a tournament style deal, and for the amateurs and the selects, after they show the first time, we're going to take the 16 highest scores. Okay. Only those 16 are left in, and that's where it's like the NCAA basketball tournament or something. All right. The second time out of those 16, it's 8. Okay. And then the only people left that we're keeping scores on is those 8, and then down to 4. And that's when we go to the head-to-head matches. But that's about as tough a competition as you can get in the land, because you don't get one bad round. You've got to make it through 3 rounds if you're in the select and the amateur to make it to the 4.
That's the part. That's the part I really like, is it adds so much value to the beginning of that show. Because some people get there and they're like, oh, I'll kind of see where I'm at and cruise through the first. Well, if you're one of these top 25 riders that are going to be eligible for this deal, and if I'm saying anything incorrect, Doug, please correct me. But that first round is going to get you to the next round. That second round is going to get you to the next round, and so on and so on. So that's kind of cool that it's not just a one and done kind of thing. It is. It's like a tournament.
And you can't hold back. You can't go, I'm just going to school a little bit here or get ready for the final round or something. you've got to show every time. And, when you think about it, well, if you made it to the two, to the championship round, you've got 5 rounds that have to be almost flawless because
Yes.
the level of competition, Brad. I mean, I've seen some of your there, and the level of competition there, and you got to be flawless for 5 runs, and that's where you can be named a national championship.
Absolutely.
It's tough competition when you think about what you got to do to get to win that thing.
Yeah. Now explain the youth part of it, because the youth show doesn't start until the following week. Now, do they go through? They don't go through as many rounds, or do they go through similar?
Not as many. They only show twice there, so we go 8 and then 4.
Okay.
So the first time they got to make the top 8, and then the next time to the 4, and then we follow it with the championship round right then. So yeah, just because like I said, we don't have that many rounds for them. So.
Well, it's a great format. I love what you've come up with. I think it's really cool. The jackets are really sweet. My good friend Robin Fred, he wears one of his clients. I guess she gave him a jacket or something. He wears that thing all the time. But they're cool jackets.
It's an honor to win it, and it's an honor to make the 4. Get one of those jackets. Said you just hearing us talk about it, you can imagine how tough it is to get there. There's no margin of error. You don't skate through this thing.
No, definitely not. You got to come prepared. I mean, it's not just another class. Like you say, it's the best of the best. So you need to make sure that you're fully prepared coming. And just the other thing about it is that I'm hearing, because one of my past students, Carrie Nowacek, she's been in it as an amateur, and it's cool to hear who's going head to head, and to hear that competition. And when you realize it comes down to that one run for them to be able to get to the next round, and then you're hearing these announcements all over the grounds there at Westworld. It just draws a whole new level of excitement. And then tell us about the patterns, because the patterns, do they have the patterns ahead of time?
Yeah. The pattern book will be out here shortly for Sun Circuit. Give it about another week or so, mid-month, that'll be out, and they'll all be in there. So,
okay.
And that first year we did it, we made them do 2 different patterns, and that was a little too tough. So the last year it went a lot better. We used the same pattern for the semis in the finals, and that was really good. But the whole pattern book, every pattern for Sun Circuit will be out here. We're just finalizing it, proofing it, and things like that, trying not to make any mistakes.
That's why I asked, because that first year my kid was into showmanship, and she had to go through that different pattern, and she forgot, she didn't spin. It was like 1 or 2 or something like that spins, and she only did 1, or vice versa. I don't know what it was. So that's why I asked that, because I remember trying to get the turns in her head before she had to go right back in for that final round. But
yeah, it was too much, and we learned, and tried to just make it. We don't want to knock anybody out that way. We want them to be able to perform.
Well, that's
these guys and these guys and girls. I mean, they're so good at what they do. It's amazing.
For sure. And that's what we like about how you do. You're an exhibitor, you're a trainer, and putting on this year, last year, it'll be the largest horse show of the year. And so you understand, if there's something you need to tweak or change or whatever, you do it. And so we really appreciate that.
Man, we try to listen to you guys. I mean, most of you guys are giving us good feedback, and we really do. We're trying. We want it to be for you guys, the whole thing. That's what it's about. It's all there for you, and we try hard to make sure that all week long. So, yeah. So we talk a little bit about these guys, Brad?
Let's do it. I see Carrie Nowacek just gave you the stamp of approval right there. She loves it.
She jumped right up there to number 1 this year.
I saw that.
Got to bump over here and see where she was. Last year she was number 7, so she jumped right up there. So it's kind of fun to watch it, and I know a lot of these guys and gals, and to watch how they move around, and they got to remember it's kind of a power ranking for 2020. You can't just
for sure
rest on your laurels from a year or 2 years ago, and that's what when we send it out to the ranking committee, the judges around the country that do this, I'm like, who's hot in 2020? That's what this is about. They must have thought a lot of Carrie, because she jumped right up there, and they put her number 1 this year, so they think she's going to show us something. That's for sure.
Bring it, Kerry. I know you got a new horse, but bring it anyway.
You know, that kind of like I was looking at Dan Yeager in the select. You know, he was number one. I think I got to look here. Don't quote me. I think I'm pretty right about that. Yeah, Dan was select. I think from the start of this deal, he might have been number one in the horsemanship, in the showmanship. You know, and then he lost his horse. That was a sad deal. But, you know, coming back with a new horse and stuff. It's kind of cool that they, you know, he fell down there. You know, they moved him down a little bit, but you know, that doesn't mean he's not going to be back. But it's a little motivation for Dan to come up there and, you know, step up to the top there. But you know, Karen Zarda had a great year and won the world, and you know, they put her number one in there now, and very deservedly so.
Absolutely.
You know? It's you know, I know most of them, so I kind of look down these lists and I go, you know, they do pretty good. I got to say the judges do. You know, it's not exact science, but it's pretty interesting.
So talk about the judges real quick. Who do you bring in to judge these events?
You know, at Sun Circuit, we use our regular judges. Some years for the finals now, I've gone and found guys like Brad Jewett if he doesn't have a customer in there. And if I really like to bring in 3 guys maybe, and they might be there showing. They don't have a customer. That's the ideal. But sometimes, you know, you guys are down there doing the trail or the Western Ride, and I can't do it. And then I'll go to the regular judges. But my favorite really is to bring in, you know, 3 fresh faces that haven't seen them all week long.
Yep. And that's just for the final. Yes, correct. Because the other ones, obviously, the other rounds are done through your Sun Circuit judges. But I do remember you calling and asking if I could judge at some point. And I remember looking up there at one time and John Briggs was judging. I'm like, well, he was just showing. But again, it adds that, like you say, it adds fresh face. They haven't judged them in any other class coming into a finals pattern or the top 2 rounds or whatever. So I think that, again, is another really cool twist that you've added.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And it adds a little twist to it. And, you know, try to bring in you guys that really, you know, you're on top of the game, you know, so.
Right.
Yeah, so anytime I can, I do try to do that for sure.
Love it.
How it goes and how busy everybody is, you know.
Well, the names that you just mentioned, and you were just talking about the select, I was like, I mean, if that doesn't get you excited to come and watch it, and there's nothing wrong with sitting there watching a select horsemanship class of, you know, 60 or something like that, however big the horse show is going to be this year, but you're going to be seeing the best of the best. And so you're going to sit through, you know, if it's the top 2 rounds, you're going to sit through 4 rounds and then they're going to eliminate 2 of them. And then right after that, then the top 2 move on to the championship round. And so you'll get to see awesome horsemanship riders. And like I said, just the names that Doug's mentioned in the select and the amateur and moving forward. And I'm sure you're going, have you talked about the different events or the different categories, and then the youth as well?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's been a fun deal. I get a lot of comments from the exhibitors. You know, they watch for those rankings, you know, to come out and you know, it'd be a true honor, you know, to be number one. You've done something to earn that. You know, that's you know, like Tiger Woods in the golf or something like that. And these guys have they have amazing skills. You know, I have so much respect for the people that do these 3 classes and that connection with their horse and stuff, and then to rise to that level, you know, and that's where I kind of dreamt up this deal. I really thought, you know, these guys work so hard at this and they're so dedicated to it that it would be one more way to honor them for their skills and, you know, and then challenge them, you know, and I think they're all finding that it's quite a challenge, you know. So.
Well, and you've added so many new things with the Sun Circuit for the level 2s, or, you know, with your 1D, 2D trails and things like that. So this is really honoring those level 3 riders. Not saying that some of them aren't level 2 riders that are going to be in the top 25 too, but you're honoring the best of the best in these events, which is really cool.
You know, and that's the other part that's really fun, that Brad, there's been a lot that have made the 4 that, you know, may be eligible for the level 2. You know, they just got to make the top 64 to get on this list. But there has been numerous times now that people aren't even ranked in the top 25 and they've made it to the 4.
Yes.
You know? And hey, this is their chance, you know, to really show those judges that, hey,
Absolutely.
you know,
I've had that. We've been there, and actually the year that she underspun, she was in the championship round in the showmanship, and she rose to the occasion at that horse show, and she was really good. And actually the one she was competing against had some issues, but stayed on pattern, or else if mine would have done the right number of turns, she would have won the class. So my point is that exactly following what you just said, it's not just the world champion that wins it. There's those level 2s that get to jump in there. To answer your question, Janice, there is no novice division. This is level 3. This is the best of the best national championship. So there you go. You gotta earn your way to it for sure. And that's something that happens all year. Like Doug had mentioned earlier about, you got to go show a little bit too, and then be top 10 at the world show in those classes. And then Tim, you're obviously late to the show because we've already talked about where you are, Trail Man. We know you're knee deep in trail mania in Oklahoma City. So what's up? And we've already answered the maiden trail deal too. So everybody's got to go back and watch that part of the show. If you haven't watched it, rewind the show there and watch it. What else do we need to cover here, Doug?
Brad, that's kind of it. We talked about the fraternities and all that's going on. You guys have heard about your chance to win the truck and about $50,000 in the pleasure. You don't have to be the superstar. It's looking good. Our stall count reservations are over top of what we finished with last year already.
Oh my gosh.
That means we could be up, another 10 or 15% this year. And last year was the biggest one in 47 years. So do expect a lot, so it's looking good, Brad. It's going to be good. Yeah.
Awesome, Doug. Well, I know you are up to here in just things you got to get done, because I know in the blink of an eye it'll all be here. So we don't want to keep you any later than we need to. I did talk to Larry Roberts yesterday, and he was talking about what he's doing with the truck, getting it all tricked out, ready to go for that deal. And he's excited to be a part of that $50,000 pleasure challenge, or bonanza, right? The Western Hauler Pleasure Bonanza, I think is what you're calling it.
Pleasure Bonanza, yes, sir. And he trust me, he's going to do a nice job. He wants to impress you guys.
Absolutely.
Western Hauler up there and helped us out. And we've had a lot of fun with the pleasure guys. They're very into it, and I keep hearing from them every day. So, it should be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Exciting, dude. Well, Doug, thanks for giving us a little bit of your evening. Hope we got enough of the word out there. We hope that everybody kind of spreads the word to go back and watch the show if they haven't heard enough about the and you know what, Kona, as Doug goes away, we let some music play. Let's put up the list that Doug sent. Let's put up those top 25 in those divisions and just kind of let them scroll through there. But Doug, thanks again for coming on tonight, man. I know we'll see you really soon.
Thank you, Brad. And exhibitors, if you're eligible, be sure to enter those classes on horseshowtracker.com. They all got a number there. Or make sure when you check in at the office and pick up your back number that you get entered in those classes, because we can't track your scores unless you're entered in them. So be certain to get entered in the national championship classes
There you go. Excellent. So everything is on the tracker. I've looked at it. It's current. Rock and roll.
All right, man.
Doug, have a good night, dude.
Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, dude. Bye. Kona, go ahead and scroll those up, and then I'll talk a little bit while those are up. Here's our top 25. You can read that's the youth horsemanship. Hannah, way to go, Hannah, making me proud. That's what I'm talking about. So any of you that are interested while these are coming through, any of you interested in having some marketing materials for your stallion, or maybe just for you and your horse, maybe for some of these riders that are up here that we're seeing right now, at any time, but especially when we're at the Sun Circuit, I want you to know that Kona and Kona Cam are going to be there. Obviously, he's our producer. Real Show, you guys have all seen the great work that he does. And so if you're at all interested in some marketing materials, videos for yourself, horse, or for your stallion, for marketing materials for breeding, contact Kona. And Kona, if you have your banner that you could pop up at the end of these right here, pop that up too. We'll let that play out, and then we'll go to commercial, and then we're going to come back with Miss Shelly DeLuge and talk some equine nutrition. So Kona's going to be bringing up his banner here shortly with his contact info. On that marketing opportunity. If you want to know what he does, just go to the Keeping It Real show and watch a bunch of our videos. He did our intro, of course. He's done a bunch of commercials for a lot of our sponsors. So don't miss out. Don't miss out. All right, everybody, stay put. We will be right back after a word from Nutrena, and then we'll be with Miss Nutrena, Shelly DeLuge.
Just about ready to get underway. Our next exhibitor is at the gate.
They're trying to prove that they belong here.
They really have their eyes set on that podium, but this pair just hasn't been consistent.
Championship titles are elusive.
This is a difficult field.
It all comes down to this. Here we go.
When years of work come to seconds of action, give yourself every edge. Get rebound technology for faster muscle recovery with ProForce from Nutrena.
Welcome back. I just love this intro music. It's so fun. For all of you in Oklahoma City doing trail, what's up? Miss you guys. We'll see you in Scottsdale, Arizona. And for those of you that missed, I am such a nice guy. If you missed the beginning part with Doug Hulls about the Maiden Trail, you cannot, Chad Evans, Bruce Vickery, Anthony Montez, Will Nabenshaw, whoever is up there, Robin Frid, all you guys up there, and excuse me, that was like very male dominant, all the names I just said, so I apologize about that. But this is all ad-libbing, right? So you cannot show in the first round of the Green Trail at the Sun Circuit and show in the Maiden. Of course, you can show in the Green Trail, but you won't be able to show in the Maiden. That's an NSBA rule. Cannot break that rule. So you will be able to show, obviously, in the latter Green Trails after the Maiden class, but you cannot show in the Green Trail prior to the Maiden class. Doug had mentioned that he's going to think about maybe swapping that timing of it to where it's earlier or whatever. But anyway, now you have that information. All right, Kona, let's bring in Miss Shelly DeLuge. I like saying that last name. I think last time we had her on, I was like, I love saying that name. Yes, Tim's working hard, Russell. Are you up there? That's your stablemate there, Shelly, Russell Mueller.
Yeah, he's going to be my backup tonight. So.
Oh, he's going to fact check
you.
you.
Because my screen is froze on my side, so I can't see any of the comments.
Okay, no worries. I will make sure I bring the comments to you when the time is right. What's up, Carson? All right. Kona's trying to.
Go, Kona.
Hey, back on. Tim says hello, Shelly.
Hi, Tim.
All right. So we have Miss Shelly DeLuge here from Nutrena. She is my rep from here in Bernie, Texas, San Antonio, Texas. Is amazing at customer service. I have to say, I've never had anybody that's taken quite the care of my business and my horses as what Shelly has done. So thank you very much. Off the bat, I want to say that my horses are looking fantastic. I'm just saying, they look great. Their hair coats look great. They're healthy. They're muscled. I'm so happy. We made this swap 2-3 months ago, I think, maybe a little longer. but I'm telling you, it is a huge difference. And I totally attribute that to what you came in and you did, telling me about your products, saying this one needs this one needs that. So thank you so much. I'm so happy with how they look and how they're performing.
That's awesome. I know I need to get out there and see them in person. I've only seen pictures. So clearly the win pictures are quite a testament. And I apologize. The dogs have been locked up all day and have now decided to awaken. So working from home, I guess 2020 extended a little bit here.
That's all right. You know, we're used to Tim's dogs.
That's true. That's true.
He's not jumping. They're not trying to bite your leg off like Tim's dogs kind of seem like they try to occasionally.
No.
So let's dive in here. Let's talk about, it is foaling season. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit, and we can talk about other things as well. But let's start with that mare and foal and take us through this process.
Yeah. So obviously it's, like Brad said, it's mare and foal season. So it's also beginning of breeding season too. So some of this we're just a tad behind on getting started, but that doesn't mean we can't come in and help finish it out with proper nutrition and get that foal going so he can be that strong athlete. Over time, the horses have changed so much. They're not just this animal we go and ride a little bit. They are extreme athletes. And so we need to nourish their bodies as such. So the first thing that you need to really look at, and I encourage everybody to do throughout the year with their horses, especially during the summer competition, when you're going quite a bit down the road, is to watch your body condition and check the weight measurements. So Kona, if you want to pop up that first screen there, and if you missed it back in, probably August when I was on, talk a little bit how to go in and determine the body condition score of the horse. And if you're needing a weight tape, I have plenty of handy dandy little weight tapes that I can send you. But if you don't want to wait on that, any tape measure, that you use to measure clothes or whatnot will work perfectly fine to do this. But to check the body condition or check the weight of your horse, you're going to use the heart girth times the body length, and you're going to divide that by 330 for the standard horse. And you're going to
repeat that again.
Yep. So it's heart girth times body length. So you'll start by placing the tape measure right at the point of the withers and go around the barrel right behind their shoulder blade.
Which is where that top picture, that's where he's doing that right there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And so then you'll go for the body length. You're going to go from the point of the shoulder to the point of the hip. And then again, divide it by 330. And this will give you a pretty good estimate of what your horse is going to weigh. I'd say it's anywhere from 50 to about 75 pounds off. But if you don't have a scale, it's about as good as you're going to get. We have tested it against scales, and it's been really close.
I tell you, Shelly's pretty good with that tape. I mean, that's what she came through in my barn and did, and I know she would do it for anybody that is interested, that is within her jurisdiction. But I know that there's Nutrena reps all over the country. But pretty good with that tape, because I mentioned how great all of my horses looked, and she went through and said this one needs this much of this and da-da-da-da, which all of them are on that fuel. So it's not like I have a different feed for every horse, because we know as horse trainers that would be very, very difficult to have 15 different feeds for 30 different horses or whatever, right? But anyway, that tape measure, my point is that tape deal is pretty good science.
Yeah. And so if you happen to have ponies, you can use the 330 for their number that you're going to divide. It will just obviously be a much smaller number. But if you're trying to figure out the weight for your yearling or your weanling, you're going to use different numbers. So you're going to use 301 for a yearling and 280 for the weanlings.
Okay.
By understanding the body condition and the weight of your horse, you're really going to be able to, help the rep that comes out and helps you determine your feeding program. But B, it's just going to, when you're looking at the feed tag, going to give you a really good starting point of how much you actually feed your horse. So Kona, if you want to pop to that next screen, So the first thing, like I said, you want to check and get the body condition and the weight of your mare. As you're coming into that breeding season, as she's coming into foaling, we know that it's pretty hard process on her body. So by making sure that she's got the proper body condition and proper weight, you're going to help set her up for success and help set that foal up as well. So when we look at the body condition score, we want our horses, especially our performance horses, anywhere between a 5 and a 6 range. So I like to kind of think of this as like my Michael Phelps in the essence. There's a good covering throughout their body, especially when we look at that 5. We don't really see the rib cages, but you might see that outline, but you're not actually seeing the rib bone itself. You're going to see a good cushion throughout their whole body, looking over their neck and over their croup. We prefer our mares when we're getting ready to breed them at a 6. Like I said, we all know that's a pretty hard process on them. That foal will take a lot from her, so we need to make sure she's got a little bit of extra so she can provide not only for herself but for the foal as well. And the nice thing too, by having her already at a good 6 range when we're getting ready for her to foal, but it'll make it easier for her to pick that weight back up and come back and be able to rebreed here in a few weeks. I need to go back through my breeding notes and get my gestation period of that. But which is a side note, if anybody is just wanting a really good resource on good equine nutrition, this book here, Horses, my college professor recommended. Amazing book for anybody just wanting some really good background information on horses.
Good. That's an easy one to remember.
Yep. There's several different versions, but this book is absolutely amazing if you're just needing a little bit of info in there. And it's got some good stuff on genetics. So if you're getting ready to plan that, who you're breeding your mare to, and you kind of want to figure out what you're going to get, some really cool ways to figure that out in there. Side note there. But I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, Siri can't hear you very well, Sherry DeLuger.
So again, first thing, let's look at our body condition and the weight of our mare. And then we've got that figured out. Now we're going to the feed store. We're going to, Tractor Supply, my local feed store down the road that I, trust, that's going to help me get the right product. Some things that we're going to need to look at when we're deciding what that mare needs nutritionally to be able to provide for herself and make sure that foal is getting those nutrients is looking at that feed tag. So Kona, if you want to pop over to the next slide, and I'll pop through that here in a second. Kind of think when you're looking at the feed for your mare is kind of look at it as like a prenatal vitamin, in that when we are looking for it, we want all that vitamin mineral package, as those are going to be so key in the development of that foal in utero and outside of utero. So when I explain this to customers and I'm doing trainings, I just kind of explain our mare and foal as that prenatal vitamin. Because there's a key time to be feeding it, and then we want to make sure we keep continuing that feed for that foal a little bit later into his life stage. So when we start looking at that feed tag, obviously, looking there at the feed tag, you're going to see your protein, you'll see your fat content, but some things to really consider is look at for the amino acid package, which is going to be, if you remember back from science class, our first 3 limiting amino acids, lysine, methionine, and threonine. So you can see, and the dogs are having issues. You'll see that I've got those highlighted right there. Those are really key in the overall development of that foal's muscling, bone, and just structure in general. It'll also help with the placental and the fetal development.
Essential.
No, placenta. Placenta, is that the word? Yeah, that word. So, really look for that amino acid package into. So, Brad's mentioned how his horses are doing on the ProForce fuel. That's some of the reason why that they are doing so well in that product. We've got those 3 essential amino acids that really go in and help them utilize the protein that we're giving them in their diet too. And then when you go and look further into that feed tag, you'll see I've highlighted here some vitamins and minerals. just like we take our daily vitamin and mineral, we want to make sure our horses have those daily vitamins and minerals. And really looking at that vitamin A, D, and E is going to be a key item to look at there as well.
Is there another slide that we're missing? We're still on the body score slide.
No, Kona just needs to flip to it.
Okay, flip to that next slide, Kona.
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, anybody, if you have any questions for Shelly, please feel free to type them in, and I will read them off to her, and we'll go from there. Okay, now continue.
There it is. Okay.
There's your ingredients.
Now we can see the feed tag. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned, the amino acid package, lysine, methionine, and threonine. These three are going to be really crucial for that first overall development of the bones and muscle tissue, but also for the placental development as well. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes here, making sure I'm getting everything.
Important stuff with my wife being a nutritionist for humans. A lot of what you're mentioning is some of the same stuff that she's mentioned to me, about how to take care of myself being almost 50 years old and then move forward. And so a lot of what you're saying, like your slogan, is from the inside of the bag to the inside of your horse, and makes a world of difference.
Yeah. So, I mentioned that having those first three amino acids, they just help with so much of that overall development of the muscle and bone and so many other things throughout the horse. But it also helps the horse utilize the protein that we're giving them. So they're getting protein in the grain supplement that you're feeding, and then your forages as well.
Yep.
So kind of think about when we're building a house, you have to have your foundation, and then you're going to have all the bricks. Well, if you're missing one brick, you're not going to get to your roof. So in the roof, in this essence, is going to be your protein. Well, if I don't have all my bricks,
right,
which is your lysine, methionine, threonine, you can't build the house. Same kind of concept there.
It's good. Really good. Kind of opens up the threshold to it.
Yeah. Yep. So there, if you look on the tag, the next thing I've got is I've kind of circled, squared, the vitamin and mineral package that you want to make sure is going to be within the feed that you're going to be selecting for your mare. So phosphorus, magnesium, copper, zinc, manganese, and selenium. These are all great things to have in there. It's going to help with the development of the foal, and then allow them to help grow on their own once they're outside of that mare. I didn't say that. I said that wrong, but you all got what I was saying there. And so as the foal is going along, obviously in utero, he needs that vitamin mineral package to develop. But once he's hit the ground, growing big and strong, he's got to start building up that mineral reserve and building his body up. So by already putting it into his bloodstream, we're helping make that process a little bit easier for him and giving him that fighting chance to get started. And just like us, by taking our daily vitamin and mineral, we're helping support our immune system. Once our immune system is working properly, we feel good, we perform better, we're not as tired, we have the energy throughout the day. Same kind of idea and concept when we're looking at that vitamin and mineral package for our horses. Keeping that immune system strong helps us have a strong athlete during the day.
Very important. I mean, you can't build bone. You need muscle to support the bone. If you don't have the muscle to support the bone, the joints break down easier, right?
Exactly.
And so you're basically you're setting up the plan, in order to get to that protein, which is what we know creates the muscle. It's layers to get to that. It's not just a matter of, how many times have we looked at a feed bag and go, oh, it has this much protein in it. Awesome. Well, what about all these other supplements that you have talked about that are already in your feed? And how many people let's give them a little bit of this supplement, a little bit of this supplement. Well, you're packaging it all up in a bag that gives that horse everything that they need. And that's time saving, which is money making, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not to discredit supplements, because
right.
There are horses out there that make this feed label that we've designed for the average horse. They make liars out of us, because just like us, we need additional vitamins and mineral package too. And that's definitely something that you can work with your vet on. If you want to go in and test that mare, have her blood tested to see if there's anything that she's low on,
Sure.
you can always go in and get that additional source. But what we're putting and what any feed company puts on their tag is that balanced nutrition ration, like Brad said, to make your life a little bit easier,
Yep.
make you some money or keep money in your pocket per se.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to add in a whole lot of other things. And also note on there, if you just go in and start adding in a whole bunch of these other supplements, there's a good likelihood that you're going to throw off what we've already rationed out and calculated for you. So just be cautious when you start adding in a whole lot of other additional vitamins and minerals, because we don't want to have adverse effects on it. So highly encourage you, if you do think your horse needs additional, get the blood work, talk and consult with your vet to make sure that you're getting the right thing in the right amounts to them.
Excellent. So what is that? What feed product would you recommend that you guys have? I saw you put Safe Choice up there as on that slide. Is that the most widely used? I mean, tell me.
Yeah. So Kona, if you want to go ahead and flip to that last slide real quick.
The Safe Choice slide there?
Yep.
There it is.
Awesome. So the last slide that you're looking at here is our Safe Choice Mare in Foal. That is the one that we're going to recommend hands down when you come to me or you come to any of the reps across the U.S. What do I feed my mare that is pregnant, she's getting ready to foal? What do I feed my weanling? What do I feed my yearling? We are going to go with Safe Choice Mare in Foal, as it's going to be the highest in that protein levels. Again, protein is so key and so instrumental in so many functions throughout the horse, that making sure that they have those adequate levels to get the nutrients that they're needing. And then it's also formulated with that vitamin mineral package that I mentioned is so critical to everything. And so just looking here at this tag, again, you're going to see the 3 essential amino acids. You're going to see a balanced starch and sugar ration. And this can be a whole other topic for another time, but making sure you balance that starch and sugar going into that horse's system is very vital, as they can't break down a whole lot at one time. So if you balance out the amounts that are going to go in to that hind gut, it allows it to be broken down a lot easier and hopefully reduces that chance of colic or any other digestive upsets coming in there. So that's something just to kind of keep in the back of your mind when looking at the feed tag and selecting a feed. And then again, your vitamin and minerals there. Those are just some of them that are listed out that we've put on our tag when we reformulated this back in, a year or so ago. And then one thing that you will find across the board with our premium Nutrena equine products is pre and probiotics. So, we're strengthening that immune system with that vitamin mineral package, but we know we need to go in and help strengthen that gut health too, because that is so vital to everything. If your gut health is going strong, the good bugs and bad bugs are working together, you're going to have a really healthy horse. And that's a goal. Like the tagline says, what's inside counts.
So important. We do have a question from Angela Dillahunty, which I think this falls in line with a lot of us. If you get a recip mare that hasn't been in your feeding program, is there something in particular with feeding that should be done? I don't know if your screen's frozen or if you can read that up there or not, or if you heard the question, but.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So if you don't know what she's been on when she received her, you can go ahead and start her on the Safe Choice Mare in Foal. Just start her at a slower or smaller feeding amount than what you would be giving her if she'd been on it all along. So on average, a full flush feed scoop, kind of like what's in that diagram there, is going to be close to about 4 pounds of our Safe Choice product. So you don't know what she's on at all, start her off with half of that and break it up into a couple different little feeds. And that just makes the transition in her system a little bit easier. And it's not a whole overload of something new going in at once, and then gradually increase it over about a week and a half to where you're getting closer to that full feeding rate. I would say probably 2.5 weeks of gradual increases getting to where the recommended feeding level is.
That was my next question, is what would you recommend, like 4 days? And you just said it, 2.5 weeks, and they should be on that full amount of ration. So foal is born, and it is on its mother's side, and then there's a certain time when the foal starts eating the grain as well, and Safe Choice is completely healthy for them as well to move forward, while the baby is still on the mare. And then let's move a little bit into the weaning process too, if we can do that.
Yeah, yep. So obviously weaning is pretty stressful. So there's a couple things that you want to try to do beforehand to make it a little bit easier on them. Try to give them halter broke before it makes it easier. When you start going in there, shuffling all around, it's about a little bit less stress on their system to begin with. Try working in, even when that mare, before she's foaled, work with your vet to come up with that vaccination schedule and program and a deworming program, and try to deworm that foal before you wean. If you can imagine us pulling him off his mama and then going and sticking a bunch of needles down him or in him, and it's a whole lot of stress, and that's really a quick way to upset his tummy there. So those are two really simple things that you can kind of make his life a little bit easier. Something else that you can do as you're preparing to wean. Obviously, we've been feeding that mare, this Mare and Foal product, since we started breeding her, or this last half of pregnancy, which is when we really do recommend you start feeding the Mare and Foal to really ensure she's getting that last good dose of vitamin and minerals going into her. He's had the chance to kind of nibble a little bit here and there from what his mom's bucket is, but you can set up a creep feeder, helping him adjust to a pelleted form of feed. In general rule of thumb, once he's 1 month old, he'll need to eat 1 pound, 2 months old, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, so forth. And
that's good. That's good to know.
And building up. So that will kind of make it a little bit easier into that transition. Obviously, if you have the chance, once you wean him, he's hopefully a little bit gentle because you've been working with him. You'll be able to check his body condition and his weight too, and that will help you when you're looking at that feed tag and figuring out how much he needs to feed. Awesome. Or how much you need to feed. Awesome.
Great information. If y'all don't know what a creep feeder is, it's basically it's small enough to where a foal can get their nose in there to eat, but the mare cannot get in there and eat the baby's grain that you want the baby to get. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we probably see more creep feeding going on in our cattle side of the business. Just you talk about it a little bit more, and they have their specific creep feed. But the Safe Choice Mare and Foal is a great option there. If once you've weaned that foal and you've separated the mom, obviously put her back out in a pasture. You can keep her on this product, or you can go to, I'm going to hope, any Safe Choice product that works well for her. A lot of mares at this point are going to be doing just fine on like a Safe Choice Original. And it's going to be a high enough fat and protein to help build her back up after she's pulled so much off of her.
I can definitely foresee you coming back out, because next year we're looking to have 4 foals at the ranch. And so I'm sure I'll be calling you saying, "That's Shelly, come down, check them out. What do I need to do different?" For sure. So great information. Thank you so much, Shelly, for joining us tonight and giving that, because I kind of had a little bit of when you said Tacona that, hey, I want to do the mare and foaling and all of that, because it's that kind of year. I'm like, ooh, that's going to be great, because it's been a long time since I've been in that part of the business. So I need to kind of get my skills kind of honed back up, and I need to find that book, I guess, too. But it's really, I'm excited about next year. Of course, this year's all the breeding piece of it, but next year will be the time that we get back into the mare business.
Perfect. One quick thing I want to make sure I mention to help supplement the grain that you are feeding and help with her overall nutrition is you want to make sure you have adequate forage, whether it's pasture or you're feeding a round bale, square bale. That's going to be extremely vital to the success of the development too. And that if you're not sure of what the the protein, fats, all that good stuff that your forage is providing, that is something that we are able to do as well. We can work with
Sweet.
you, get samples and get that tested too.
Awesome. It just goes to show you the customer service that I know Shelly, and obviously she's part of a great company. Russell's on here, and of course, Russell, we always love having Shelly on, and all of your group, whoever we can get to come on. We always enjoy having them be a part of the show, and we thank you for your sponsorship, of course, and your continued support of the Keeping It Real show. But you guys really do all you can for the horse industry, and we see you. It's crazy because I'll be watching a YouTube video of a horse somewhere and competing in it, but Nutrina's there, and so you guys are such an integral part of, and it shows that you care. It's not just a business, but you really care, and I saw that when you came out to my place, and I know there's reps all over the country that are doing that, all over the world, as well as we've talked about. Canada, there's some other areas I think we had talked about, but just thank you guys so much. For you, Shelly, for sure, but to all those Nutrina. If you guys are not involved with Nutrina, anybody watching is not involved with Nutrina, I just highly recommend it. I'm a full-fledged believer because I've not fed Nutrina before. And I swapped, what we talked 3-4 months ago, something like that. And I mean, if you could see my horses then versus now, they have made a huge difference in the way they look. And that's important when you're showing at the level that we're showing. It truly is. It's really important. When you're competing against the best of the best all over the country, when you take your first walk, trot, or lope step into the arena, you want that horse to look like $1 million before they've even made a move, and so that's a big part of it. They need to have the energy, they need to have the nutrition, and that's where the energy comes from. So thank you so much for all the time that you've given me and my barn personally, but everything that you guys have done.
Of course, and we're so thrilled to hear that your horses are doing great. Like I said, the win pictures are testimony alone of your program, but how the feed is just supplementing all the hard work that you and your team puts into everything. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the comments, and Russell made the comment, horses and humans are more alike than different. They just do better on alfalfa than we do.
I meant to make a comment about that, Russell. I take my alfalfa supplement in a pill for.
Yeah, and that really, guys, at the end of the day, when you're choosing the feed for your horse, remember that they are athletes, and the things that we care about and what we're putting into our body, it's a very similar concept, and we want to make sure we're doing the best for them, like Brad said. And any questions, if you would like us to do any consultations, please reach out to me. I'm looking here, we've got Tiffany Patterson on watching as well, and she's a part of our team too up in Iowa. We're scattered. I'm not quite sure where it is, but somewhere up north where it gets cold. And she, Tiffany's a great resource, and Russell, and we've got, you guys will get to see Kristen at Sun Circuit, and so we're just truly excited and happy to be partnering.
So
with
give us your contact info in your region, Shelly, that if anybody watching is in your region, and your contact info. And then if there's a general info, if somebody's watching in other parts of the country, they can find you.
So you can reach me at, my direct line is 775-881-8810. And I'm in the Texas market. So anywhere in Texas, for the most part, I can get to you. And then we are actually, and you can go on to Nutrina's Facebook page, and there will be a link that you can actually sign up for free virtual consulting that we can do, and you can get signed up with any of the reps across the U.S. as well. Or if you just want to reach out for comments, nutrinaworld.com, there will be a link that you can click on that'll get you to the right person.
Russell just put it up there. So they're perfect. Thank you, Russell. Excellent. You saved Kona some steps. He could just click one button instead of typing something in. That's excellent. Well, Shelly, thanks again. Oh, I see Sharon Wellman. Better late than never. Sharon, you'd be so proud of Shelly. I know you are. But
so, hey, Sharon, shout out. This no horse thing is, especially after Doug talked about the top 4. We got to get on that goal.
Find her another horse, Sharon. Find her another horse. All right, Shelly, I'll let you go tonight. Thank you so much for giving us up some of your Wednesday night. And we'll let you go if you want to stay, and we'll chat a little bit after the show here. I've just got to dot a few I's, cross a few T's here, and then we're going to log off. Thank you, everybody, for watching the Keeping It Real show, Wednesday night edition. We're sorry Tim couldn't make it. He is up to his ears in trail at the Prairie Classic in Oklahoma City. I saw Larry Roberts just logged on, a new sponsor with Western Hauler. Thank you so much, Larry, for sponsoring the Keeping It Real show and being a partner with us. We had Doug Halls on earlier talking about the $50,000 Western Hauler Pleasure Bonanza. Excited about that. Thank you, Shelly and Neutrino, one more time for coming on and joining us. And before we go, tomorrow night, Brent Maxwell, yes, the Brent Maxwell is going to be joining Tim and I for a great Thursday night Keeping It Real show. So y'all have a great Wednesday night, and we will see you tomorrow in about 23 hours.
If you're looking for a smarter way to ship, look to Unishippers. We've been helping small to medium-sized businesses cut their shipping costs for more than 30 years. You'll get significant savings with UPS and more than 65 LTL freight carriers by leveraging the group buying power of our 90,000 plus customers. Unishippers is a one-stop shop for reliable shipping, significant savings, exceptional personal service, and easy online logistics management. Let Unishippers deliver for you. Call Mark and his team today.